Just because Republicans are constantly coming up with new conspiracies, new dangerous lies, doesn't mean that we as Democrats should quickly move on whenever they put out a new talking point. No, we have to call out and correct the record on the disinformation they try to push, or else it becomes even more dangerous. And that is exactly what Congressman Jared Moskowitz did today in a hearing in which he shredded Marjorie Taylor Greene and her lies to her face, and I cannot wait to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this incredible takedown by Jared Moskowitz.
What happened in Florida in this instance is deeply disturbing. It's unacceptable. I know you know that. Disaster aid should never be declined based on support of any political candidate. And I'm happy this rogue employee was fired. You did the right thing immediately, right? What should have happened here is if there were members of FEMA's team that felt uncomfortable, that should have been passed up to the FCO. That should have gone to the federal coordinating officer. And then that information should have gone to Director Guthrie, who's the Director of Emergency Management in the state of Florida, my former deputy. And then they could have made sure to identify those homes and gotten them the information. But that's not what happened. There was a clear breakdown here. And so you should do an investigation to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. Every emergency manager in the country during COVID, yourself included, I'm sure, was worried about the politics of disaster aid changing. We saw it happening in real time. And we were really worried, about how that would go into future disasters. As the world is becoming more partisan, the world is becoming more divided. You're seeing it here in the country. We were hoping that there'd be a force field around FEMA. But that's not the case. I know the people at FEMA are exhausted, okay? Talent is retiring. They have a rotating door because of the burnout rate from disasters. That's not just in this administration. I talked to the previous two administrators during Donald Trump's administration, and it was the same problem because of all the disasters that are happening and the burnout rate that exists. My own agency lost 200 people after COVID because they were burned out. Every problem that my colleagues brought up, and they're right. Chairwoman Fox is right. Anna Paulina Luna is right. All of the problems that they brought up with FEMA, those issues about programs and being denied, this is not new. This has been going on for a while. It happened in the Trump administration, right? Because here's one of the things that I'm going to say that no FEMA administrator will tell you while they're FEMA administrator, but the last two Trump administrators will tell you, previous administrators will tell you when they leave the job, is that Homeland has become too big. It has become too big. I got to work with Joe Lieberman. The idea of Homeland was a great idea. It's still a good idea. But never did anyone envision that the bureaucracy would become too big. FEMA can't make the changes you want them to make, whether it's Ms. Criswell or the next administrator that Trump appoints. They can't. Homeland won't let them because there's 30 people around a table, right, trying to figure out what to do in the agency. So for the people at DOJ, if Vivek and Elon are listening, you need to look at Homeland. You got problems at Secret Service, guess where that is? Homeland. And so what I'm saying is that don't look at Administrator Criswell or this FEMA administration or in this Biden administration. If you think there are issues in FEMA that you want to fix, I'm letting you know these issues go back decades. They're not new. They're not. And so I do want to say one more thing because I think it's tremendously important for my colleagues across the aisle and my Democratic colleagues. It is so important that we don't allow FEMA to become politicized and that we don't allow disaster aid to become politicized. Laser beams do not start fires in California. We cannot guide where hurricanes go. And you know what? You know who's amplifying that stuff? Foreign accounts. Other countries are amplifying that stuff on social media to divide us, to divide Democrats and Republicans. They want us fighting over disaster aid because it helps their goal. We can't participate in that. We shouldn't amplify that. So, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for having this hearing. We should have this hearing. But I want you to know that these issues that you're bringing up are not issues of today. These are issues of yesteryear. And so I will work with anyone across the aisle on fixing these issues within Homeland. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
Just a perfect response, and exactly what we need from Jared Moskowitz, calling out the lies that Marjorie Taylor Greene pushed about the Biden-Harris administration's response to the hurricanes that devastated North Carolina and Georgia. And of course, those lies were told by Marjorie Taylor Greene months ago, but they are important to call out for the next time the same thing happens. The communities that were most affected were most damaged by these conspiracies from MAGA because they didn't know if they were able to get the relief that they needed. And so we have to revisit and have to call out these lies. And of course, Moskowitz doing such an incredible job. But there are new lies and new conspiracies by MAGA coming along with Donald Trump's cabinet nominees that were called out by a different Democrat on the House floor today, and Representative Jim McGovern. And I want to check that out right here.
I do not believe any of what my Republican friends are talking about on the floor today is in line with what the American people voted for. They voted for cheaper groceries, not whatever the hell this stuff is. They are asking us to vote for a bill, my Republican friends, that would give the incoming administration the ability to revoke the nonprofit status of any advocacy group they want, just by labeling them as a terrorist sympathizer. A bill that would give President-elect Trump a new power to just unilaterally accuse an American group of terrorism and then shut them down. Again, no guardrails for an administration that says it will go after the enemy within. Just a bill that gives them power to do that on day one. And meanwhile, every decision that has been made by this incoming administration so far has not been about the American people. It has been about them. I'm reading in the newspaper again this morning that they want to issue blank pardons to those who committed crimes on January 6th. Republicans call them political prisoners. I mean, these are people who were arrested, indicted, tried, and convicted by juries and judges in courtrooms across this country for violently attacking our brave law enforcement officers. People who smashed cops in the heads with metal barricades, who jammed them in doors until blood was coming out of their mouths. And the incoming administration is thinking about pardoning them? Let that sink in, everybody. Let that sink in. And before I'm accused of harping on January 6th, I'm not the one bringing it up. The incoming president-elect is. He won't shut up about it. So when I'm talking about my concerns over the bill we are considering here today, understand that these are not unfounded fears. The new administration is leaking plans to court-martial military officers who are not sufficiently loyal. Isn't that usually how things go in authoritarian dictatorships? Purge the military of anyone who might have a spine and refuse to obey an unlawful order. I mean, what the hell is going on here? And their cabinet picks so far? I mean, these are like beyond insane. Someone who is credibly accused of having sex with an underage girl. Someone who sucks up to foreign dictators and has attracted major concern that they can't be trusted to protect America's secrets from our adversaries. Someone who paid hush money to cover up a sexual assault accusation, to lead our military. He's picked because Donald Trump likes him on Fox News. Someone who says that tap water turns kids gay. I mean, this is the dream team? This is the dream team? Really? I mean, seriously, it would be funny if it weren't so sad. And hopefully, the United States Senate has a backbone and insists on a thorough confirmation process. Look, the truth is this. The truth is that this is not what people voted for. They voted for their pocketbooks, and frankly, I don't blame them. You know who I do blame? I blame the billionaires who have rigged our country against working people and spent the last 4 decades squeezing every penny they could out of people. I blame the politicians, including the incoming administration, who have abandoned workers and who have done nothing while the rich get richer and everyone else gets screwed. My friends on the other side, they want to blame trans people. Guess what? Trans people aren't the ones raising people's grocery prices. Big corporations are. They want to blame immigrants. And here's the deal. Immigrants aren't the ones denying health insurance claims, Mr. Speaker. It's the billion-dollar insurance companies that do that on a daily basis. And they want to blame woke this and woke that. What's woke about thinking special interests should not be able to buy tax breaks? What's woke about telling Chevron and Exxon that they can't dump toxic chemicals into our air and water? What's woke about thinking it's wrong to give tax breaks to billionaires while the rest of us get screwed? It is time for us to get serious about fixing this country and making sure it works for everyone. And instead, we have BS bills that allow the new administration to go after any group who disagrees with the government and shut them down. So my friends on the other side can keep doing whatever the hell this is. Good luck with that. But Democrats will be talking about the economy.
These are some of the most dangerous people, if not the most dangerous people, we have ever seen nominated for the highest positions in our government. We cannot allow them to become normalized. We have to call out their conspiracies, and we're going to be doing that every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.